Hello and welcome to Chamber Chat. This is February 24th, 2022. Welcome. I'm Katie Ritter. I am the Membership Director and Event Coordinator with the Taos County Chamber of Commerce. Today we'll be hearing from Anwar Kaelin with Small Business Development Center. And I'm going to hand it over to Anwar to present today. And if you don't mind, keep your microphone muted and you're welcome to keep your video off as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Good morning, everybody. My name is Anwar Kaelin, and I'd rather be skiing. Joke. On a more serious note, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we live in a different world this morning, one in which war in Europe is a reality. Our economy here in the US, New Mexico, and Taos County is not insulated. And the prospects for further increasing gas prices, if Hale Creek is where you shop, or food inflation at Smith's, increasing natural gas prices by New Mexico Gas Company, supply constraints on building materials at Randall's, logistical bottlenecks on the parts Metric Motors needs to fix your car, and the increasing cost of a decreased labor pool are dire. We here in Taos County are teetering on just 4 weeks of an Omicron recovering economy, and the annual migration of spring break skiers coming here to ski in Taos is just beginning. It's the last chance for a local business in the accommodation or food sector to do everything they can to pay their bills through the summer, despite a new variant circulating and now mask wearing on the ebb. Taos County businesses had their back against the wall before the pandemic. And in these circumstances today, with no more PPPs, EIDLs, SVOGs, RRFs, and PUAs, pick your favorite acronym, the Taos County businesses are making critical decisions right now to stay open, downsize, move, restructure, break apart, or close. And it's critical services like the Taos Chamber of Commerce, UNM's Hive, and MDWS, and the SBDC that have never had a more poignant time and place. Again, thank you to Lindsay and Katie, and great to see some friends and associates on the line as well. And looks like Tyler did just join, just so that you know, Katie, so he's in there. Hi, Tyler, good morning. And Tyler, just so that you know, I'm just giving a little quick intro, and then I'm gonna pass it to you, and I'm probably gonna switch off video and go on the audio so that I can run my daughter to school. So back to the basics. My name's Anwar Kaelin. I'm the director of the SBDC at UNM Taos, which serves Taos County. I am one of almost 50 SBDC business advisors in New Mexico who are organized into 18 centers around the state, making up the New Mexico SBDC network. As reported to the New Mexico Legislative Finance Committee each year, the NMSBDC program is consistently the most cost-effective contributor to economic development in the state. The New Mexico SBDC is one of more than 60 networks around the country in every state and territory, staffed by more than 1,300 business advisors like me. The nationwide network is called the ASBDC and is a program of the U.S. Small Business Administration. Effectively, we are the nation's largest technical assistance and management program. Every SBDC in the country is hosted by a higher ed institution, and in my case, I serve at the pleasure of UNM Taos, who's hosted the SBDC here for over 10 years. As you might be able to tell, and you can see my breath as I speak, I'm not in my office, but I do have an office located downtown at Civic Plaza Drive at the UNM's Camino Real Hall, within walking distance of the downtown and plaza commercial districts, and conveniently located across the street from a blue bus terminal, which I have ridden and I find extremely convenient when it's in operation. So what do we do? Our mission is to develop skilled entrepreneurs and strong businesses by being a safe place for ideas, growth, and working through challenges. I am a no-cost confidential business advisor to all Taos County businesses. SBDC services are not intended as professional legal or tax advice, and we do advise all clients to seek this before making any decisions. The two pillars of work that we do, that we provide, are advising and training. Pre-pandemic, both were provided at the center level, but due to an increase in demand for advising intra-pandemic, training has been centralized at the state level, allowing me to spend 100% of my time consulting one-on-one with clients on topics including business plan development, access to capital, bookkeeping, human resources, taxes, marketing, government contracting, and international trade. Though we've been in a bit of a hybrid model for a while now, I am spending 3 weeks out of each month in the office, and I'm living primarily in this Zoom box. But I do see and I do make exceptions for disabled or handicapped clients who, or should we say even technically challenged clients that would prefer to meet in person. 1 week out of the month, about 4 days of that week, I am making it a point to get in the car and I'm driving the county. 2 weeks ago was the last road trip I did, and what I do is I spend 1 day and I go to Peñasco and meet with clients at the Mas Comunidad spot location in Peñasco, and I do visit with clients as far as Las Trampas, Chamizal, Picaris Pueblo. There's a little bit of overlap in Dixon. So that's 1 day. The second day, I drive up north and I go as far as Amalia and Costilla and hit some of the El Rito and Sunshine Valley area. On another day, I hit the Enchanted Circle. So I do Angel Fire, Eagle Nest, Red River, and there's been a lot of demand in Cuesta lately, so I've been doubling up on Cuesta. And then another day I head west and I go out towards TP, hit the Taos County side of Ojo, come back through Carson, and especially coming into 2022, that has really made the difference for a lot of clients, being able to meet them at their places of business. If you visit our website at nmsbdc.org and click on workshops, you can see a list of upcoming no-cost trainings on everything from government contracting, negotiating skills for women-owned businesses, and workers' comp. I was just checking it just before this call, and there's actually a great lineup of government contracting workshops. We have 3 sister programs under the SBDC to assist specifically on government contract readiness and intellectual property and international trade. The PTAC, or Procurement Technical Assistance Center, are available at no cost, just like I am, to assist businesses who want to sell their goods or services to the government, educational institutions, or tribal entities. I've been working a lot with them recently with clients who are wanting to get registered in the SAMS system, which is usually the first step, and bringing PTAC into co-counsel with me and a client is invaluable. The NMIBA is the International Business Accelerator, and they are available at no cost to assist businesses wishing to introduce their product or service into the global market. They're primarily based down in Santa Teresa and work a lot with cross-border trade with Mexico. But they also have been working and have assisted several Taiwanese companies move to New Mexico to establish manufacturing locations in New Mexico. I've been working with them as well and assisting import businesses in New Mexico who are importing products. And they do provide services to actual overseas processors and their ability to register with, for example, the FDA, to be able to facilitate the import of their products for New Mexico buyers. And the third sister program that we have is called the TCA. It's not the Taos Community Auditorium, rather it's our new technology commercialization accelerator. And it's also available at no cost to assist businesses with securing their intellectual property, like copyrights, trademarks, and patents. It's been an amazing shift intra-pandemic, where a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs in Taos County who were reassessing their business plans really looked inward and did a lot of development and securing of intangible assets like IP. And being able to work with the TCA and a client, I mean, intellectual property is another planet, and they're also an invaluable asset that we have to leverage for clients who need to secure trademarks, copyrights, or patents. Like I mentioned, I'm getting the call to drive my daughter down the road. So instead of jumping into numbers, what I'd like to do is to introduce you to a client of mine who is doing amazing work in an often overlooked region of our county. Tyler Eshleman from Visylvia Farms. If you're on the line, I think you're there, and you could unmute and say hello.
Morning.
Good morning. There's Tyler. Right on, Tyler. Thank you so much for making the time to join us. And like I said, I'm sorry I might have to kill audio and go on. I mean, kill video and go on audio, and I'll keep listening as much as I can in the car. But I'm really gonna have to pass the baton over to you, Tyler. And this is the the Taos County Chamber of Commerce's forum, and you missed a little bit of the intro, but Katie is the mediator moderator here, and so if you have any questions, you can touch base with her. But I really wanted to introduce Tyler so that everybody could get a sense of what is happening maybe outside of the downtown districts, and really get a taste of his business, and understand a little bit of what he's working on and where he's going, and hopefully how we can support him. So thank you, Katie. I'm gonna kill my video here and go on audio.
Thank you so much, Anwar, for being here today. Thank you, Tyler, for being here. Go ahead, and we'd love to hear from you.
Thanks, Katie, and thanks, Anwar. It was a very pleasant surprise to receive this invitation and to be able to talk a little bit about what we're up to. We are so grateful to Anwar, and I certainly come from more of a nonprofit background myself, and so starting a business, there are some similarities, but there were a lot of things that we definitely needed help with, and formalizing our business and making sure that things were where we wanted them to be successful. And so we have so much gratitude and have loved working with him. So I'm Tyler. My wife and I are owners and operators of Visylvia Farm, and we're between Cuesta and Costilla in Sunshine Valley. If you're not familiar with this part of our county, it's pretty far north of Taos. I originally moved to Taos, and my wife's a teacher, and was at Roots and Wings Community School in Llama, and we just gradually started moving further and further north, and eventually landed here in Sunshine, and love it. It's beautiful up here. So Anwar asked me to talk a little bit about sort of what we've been up to in agriculture. We are sort of figuring it out. We started our farm in 2018 after having worked on a number of other farms, both of us having experience with goats and vegetable production, and we're excited to sort of finally get to do a little bit of our own thing, but also add to the local farming community. Certainly up here in Cuesta, the farmers market's a pretty small group still, and so having another farm helped to kind of like bolster some of the enthusiasm and volume of that market. And so that was one of the things that we were thinking about as we started our farm. Currently we have we run a goat dairy, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in a bit in terms of some of our goals around that particular part of our farm. We have a vegetable operation that includes a CSA, as well as the farmers markets that we sell through. And just actually, we've learned we're doing a little too much, and so we finally brought in another couple into our business to take over vegetable operations, and we are really excited about their experience. They've been running a farm in Chimayo and had to be off of their property they were renting, and so they're coming up to Taos County to expand what they were doing and also expand our vegetable operation here and work closely with other farmers like Daniel Carmona up in this neck of the woods. And so that's really exciting. And then we also have fiber animals, and we do a little bit of meat, lamb, goat, and beef, and are doing all the things we need to do to work with meat processors around the state. Meat processing is a bit of an intense game right now, but are finding that building those relationships with processors around, especially the northern part of the state, has been great. We've been able to help a few other farms get some processing slots to help that industry in Taos County a little bit. And then the other thing that we're doing is in 20, let's see, at the beginning of the at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, around the time of the shutdowns, New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association did some micro grants, and we were awarded one to start a pay what you will, pay what you can farm stand, a contact-free sort of thing that allowed a space for us to sell our products, but also that of other local farms, and who year-round access for local farms to have markets is really tough, especially up here in Cuesta. There's it's a smaller window for the farmers market than Taos farmers market, and so being able to have farmers have outlets for their produce and products year-round was pretty significant. Contact-free because of safety for COVID was a huge part of that. And then also being the ability for community to support each other. So the whole point of the pay what you will, pay what you can model was that some community members could pay a little more if they were able, and folks who were having a hard time accessing food, maybe lost their job or weren't able to work for safety reasons, whatever it may have been, they could get food for free or pay less for the food. And so it was really just a beautiful model up here that worked really pretty well. And we've kept it going until it got so big that we have decided to open an official market. And so we just bought a property closer to Cuesta and are opening this week. This week is our first week open, where we're selling all of those products and goods from a bunch of local farms. They're year round. So our inputs have increased a little bit. We need to do staffing, and we have different kinds of building maintenance and insurance and all of the things that are associated with that kind of operation. But so far, there's been just tremendous community support, and we are really excited to have a little market that's focused solely on locally produced food. And that's been pretty huge. So that's been part of that, part of our operation more recently, and we are now working on expanding that site where the market is to have a little bit of an education center. It's where some of the greenhouses are going to be for the vegetable operation. And we're working with the Quivira Coalition of Santa Fe to do composting trials and start a community composting project that will allow community members to bring food waste, and we'll do static aerated piles and biochar compost. Maybe worms someday. We haven't quite gotten that far. And teach people about composting, especially youth, working with Cuesta schools and working with the Cuesta Farmers Market that received a grant for some educational opportunities like that. And then the community can, if folks contribute, they get compost back. And otherwise it's going into our fields or into community gardens in Cuesta. And so that's a really exciting thing that is happening soon. We have not started all of that just yet because of the cold, but we're looking forward to getting that started here later in the spring. Trying to think what else. We had kind of a little bit of an outline here of things I was going to try to hit.
Oh no, that's awesome. That's great to,
hope
I mean,
this is helpful.
congratulations, by the way, because
Yeah.
that's a lot of wonderful things, and you're covering a lot of topics too, because you're talking about education as well, which is fantastic. So do you maybe want to talk about your process of how, you've gotten to the point where you've gotten?
Sure. Thanks, Katie. Yeah, so we started off certainly not as an official business. It started really as a hobby farm for us. And it definitely became apparent that people want local food, and people are excited to support local agriculture. And in a lot of our early, and I would say to this day, community needs assessments and just overall research, most of the farms are pretty tapped out in terms of like CSA capacity and their ability to ramp up operations. And so it became apparent that if we wanted to ramp up operations and had the ability to do so, that we could. And so and that was going to be beneficial for community members. I don't know what our threshold is for what our capacity is going to be. One of our goals is for us to get one or both of us into full-time farming. As I said, Amelia is a teacher, and I have been full-time with the New Mexico Coalition to Enhance Working Lands and the Quivira Coalition, and just recently started as the executive director for Alianza Agricultura de Taos. This week, lots of firsts this week, and yeah, so a lot of big growth there also. But we needed to formalize in order to grow and do things right. We wanted to be sure we're doing things by the book, and that it ultimately allows us to help community members. I mean, we can take SNAP and EBT monies now, and we couldn't before. And so some of those things are pretty significant in terms of equity. We can, hire people, and we hire local high schoolers and a couple of other folks up here in Cuesta, and that's been huge. And so we knew of Anwar and his work, and a lot of people encouraged us to reach out to him, and so we did. And pretty quickly we started getting set up, and it was awesome. Walked through even in this virtual space, being able to get registered and set up with county, with state, getting everything set up at the national level to form our LLC, and yeah, it's been a great process. Anwar is awesome. Anytime we need to ask questions, I emailed him yesterday and was like, all right, there's a food truck for sale and we are wanting to get into some value added products here. How do we do this? And so that's a new thing that we're working on, to have a commercial kitchen on the property that both allows for us to do value added products, but potentially value added products that are also meals for the community. And so we're looking into it and we're going to see what happens. That didn't quite answer all of your question about process, but it certainly, a lot of our process really relied heavily on the services that Anwar provided.
Katie, may I ask Tyler a quick question?
Oh, of course.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you so much for jumping on this and covering for me. And I got down the road in the car and back, so the girl's off to school. This is just an informal poll, but how, if anybody on this call knows the background of the name Visylvia, can you do like a thumbs up or a clap? Does anybody know where that name comes from? I don't see any. So Tyler, could you just give us a little history lesson, please?
Sure. Sadly, I don't know very much about the name. We've struggled to find origin of it. And there's not much known about it. There are a couple of references. If you do a Google search, there's a couple of references at the archives in Cuesta. But Visylvia Peak in the Latier Wilderness is why we chose the name. And that was when we were in El Rito, across the road, and we were renting. We look up and see the peak and loved being in the woods there. But also until World War I, and then going into the Great Depression, there was a community, actually an incorporated town with its own post office and a stagecoach sort of station out here in Sunshine in the community, and the town was called Visylvia. And then it dissolved and everyone picked up their houses and moved them to Alamosa, and people moved in later and named the same area Sunshine Valley. And so it's been Sunshine Valley for many decades now. But we kind of like that we happened into the name Visylvia, and that happens to be the old name of exactly where we are.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's awesome. Trivia is always wonderful. And a little, because people want to know, why did you choose your name? What makes you that identity, right? That's great. Anwar, do you have anything else that you'd like to add today?
I think that this is just because the nature of my work, but what I would love is to say, just ask Tyler. I mean, Tyler, kind of looking forward to these next plans that you've got going on. I mean, what kind of support could a group like us try to line up for you? And I mean, I know that the general feedback out there right now is labor. It sounds like you've got some potential partners to be able to come in and help with that. Rising food costs and input costs. Just kind of looking at the audience that we have right now, we've got a real team of movers here in the community. So, I mean, if you had one ask, or two, what would it be?
Wow, it's a great question, and I really don't know if I have a perfect answer. I think one of the things that I would love to see happening more for small farmers are micro grant or micro loan opportunities that are more accessible. I think that we were really pretty fortunate, but to receive one to start our farm stand. But they're just so rare. I think a lot of opportunities exist for small businesses, or certainly some, but farms don't always make that cut. And food is just so important, and specifically food or funding opportunities that support accessibility. I think again, part of what made our farm stand successful was that it was so focused on making sure that people had access to food, and it raised it focused on dignity of people who were having a hard time, but also empowered community to take care of each other. But what it also did was allow farmers to be successful, and that was a pretty critical piece to bring all of those elements together. Yeah, I know. It's a tough thing to say, like grants. I'm not sure that's always the best answer, but I think especially here in northern New Mexico, high tunnels and things are expensive, and extending growing season is so critical if we want year-round food. And so figuring out programs that can expand opportunities for accessing things like that is also pretty critical. And then, I know this is a second thing, but marketing and more advertising around what local food is available. And we have some really great options with the farmers markets, and SIDS does a good job. And but there are a lot of other small farms out there that aren't necessarily in those spaces, and how we can figure out supporting and promoting them within the community, I think is huge. Anyway, I know that doesn't feel, those don't feel like the best answers to me, but appreciate the opportunity to speak to those a little.
No, thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it, and I know you and I have a meeting lined up, so I'll get well prepped on some answers and resources for you. All right, Katie, I'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you to both Tyler and Anwar for both your presentations today. Lots of great information. I want to also put it out to those of you who are attending, if you have any questions, but also if you'd like to introduce yourself, and if you have any suggestions for Tyler. And Anita is first up.
Good morning. First, thank you, Katie and Lindsay and the Taos County Chamber of Commerce for hosting these sessions. I always find them really informative and inspiring. And Anwar, you just do such a tremendous job. I just really appreciate the work that you do in the community, and changing the community, changing lives, one business owner at a time. So just really appreciate all the work that you do. I'm so excited, Tyler, to hear about what you're up to. I and several of my colleagues, including Victoria, who's on the call, we really have been trying to do some work around supporting agricultural entrepreneurship. And so it's just really exciting for me to hear your story and your successes. Yeah, just I really think that the agriculture and honoring the history and the culture of that in this region, and supporting and providing opportunities for small farmers like you, and especially with your philosophy and your ethos around it. I love what you've said about the access component and equity around food and fresh food and locally grown and produced food. So I just really appreciate that. So I don't know if I introduced myself. I'm Anita Bringus. I'm the strategic support manager for UNM Taos. Part part of what I do in that role is work. I spend a lot of time in the community, identifying ways that UNM Taos can really be operating and serving as the community's college. And part of that is identifying ways that we can establish programs or enhance programs to serve everyone that's looking to complete their high school equivalency, to go the traditional academic route of certificate or degree attainment, to transfer to a four-year institution, but more and more so really supporting the workforce training and workforce development piece. Again, my colleague Victoria is phenomenal in that arena. And a lot of where my work exists is at that intersection between economic development and diversification and workforce training and education. And agriculture is right there at that apex of those three things. So I just, wanted to congratulate you on your success. I'm also really excited to share that while UNM Taos has offered a couple classes in agricultural, sustainable food and farming and things of that nature, we're really starting to enhance and expand those programs. We're currently working with a couple regional partners. And Victoria, if you want to jump in here and add to this, please do, but including Not Forgotten Outreach, the Veterans Program, as well as Veterans Off Grid. We work closely with the TCEDC, and we're really looking at being able to expand those offerings, both for credit and also looking at how we can support in terms of workforce and small, independently owned farms like you to train other workers that can support, whether it's in the fields or in the value added piece, in the marketing piece, and really helping to support training of the workforce to enhance that industry. I also serve on the board of the Taos Entrepreneurial Network. We have a monthly, the third Tuesday of the month at 5:30. We have a networking session that we're hoping that we'll start getting back to in person by by March. And we are actually hosting Felicity Fonseca with the North Central New Mexico Economic Development District. She's relatively new in her position, as well as Mercedes from the Taos County Economic Development Corporation. And the topic is specifically around agricultural entrepreneurship. And so Felicity will be talking about, to your question, Tyler, Felicity will be sharing some funding opportunities for agricultural entrepreneurs, and Mercedes will be sharing more about the trainings that they're doing, and particularly around the value added piece. So I'll stop there. There's a lot more to talk about. I'd be happy to get offline and talk more about ag and economic development and entrepreneurship, but I'll just close there. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Anita.
Victoria.
Good morning. Thank you, Tyler. That was awesome. And I looked at your website and I love the names of your animals. That's adorable. So everyone, check it out because they are just precious. So I'm Victoria Santisteban. As Anita mentioned, we all work together at UNM Taos. I also have the honor of working with Anwar, and I'm on the board of the Taos County Chamber of Commerce, where I get to work with Katie and Lindsay. So thank you again for being here. Your work is amazing. As Anita mentioned, we are really trying to put some effort into creating more of an agriculture environment, community, whatever we want to say here in Taos, and to really get our young people excited about being part of that. So I grew up in a farming and ranching family. It's very important to me. And I'm really grateful for UNM Taos's wanting to do this. So, and thank you, Tyler, for keeping that tradition alive. Thank you, Anwar, for all you're doing. Just a great team.
Thank you, Victoria, for everything that you and Anita do. You guys are rock stars. As well as Anwar. I mean, we've got an awesome group here. I mean, let's face it. Anyone else would like to introduce themselves or share any news or have any questions? We haven't heard from Joaquin, Darius, or Heather today. Staying warm because of the snow, I think maybe. But I want to thank you so much for both of you and your awesome presentation, getting yourself out there. You're covering so many bases. It's very exciting. I would like to just speak on behalf of the chamber. We would love to talk to you as well. We have resources. I'd love to talk to you about membership. Additionally, we have an education committee that we have as part of the chamber, where both Victoria and Anita often attend. Anwar, we see you occasionally, but it's a good resource to be able to network with people, specifically within the education community here. We've got people from the Taos Municipal Schools who attend, True Kids 1. That might be something really cool for you as well. So we're partnering with them on a program that they're doing called Professional Pathways, where there are students from the high school who are interviewing local business owners about themselves and how they got started. And by the way, you have a very cool story, which would make really a really great video. So I'm telling you this for a reason. And they, you know, they're willing to negotiate about with the business how to move forward. But it's a great opportunity for the youth community to be able to interview people, and they're especially looking for people in the trades world, and just things that maybe kids don't think about, as a career moving forward. So I wanted to mention that to you. But as far as marketing and that kind of thing, the chamber is always happy to help. We have a job fair actually tomorrow. It's something that our members, we do whatever our members would like, and a job fair is one of those things. And we have over 15 participants, I should say employers, tomorrow. And but members are able to post job postings at any time on the website. So offline, I'd love to talk to you about that more. But I think education committee would also be a great place for you to come and talk about what you've done.
Thanks so much, Katie. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And if there aren't any other questions, or if we're staying a little quiet today, I'll close it here if there aren't any further questions or comments. But again, this is being recorded. It will be shared on our YouTube channel. We have the Taos County Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel. And this is a monthly event that we'll have. And I want to thank all of you for attending. Thank you, Tyler, for going on the spot and talking about your business. Thank you, Anwar, for splitting your morning with us. We appreciate it, and giving your presentation and how important you are. And those of you who are attending, maybe you're looking to start a business, please visit the chat. There's tons of resources being shared in the chat, websites, who to talk to, how to get a hold of Anwar, Tyler's awesome farm. We've got information on the UNM Taos programs. There's a lot of great programs that they have available. So please visit the chat, which we're happy to share with you if you'd like it. But thank you so much for being here, everyone. Have a wonderful morning. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.